All right, we've talked about mindset. We've talked about the test she runs on you without telling you. We've talked about the fake nice guy trap. But there's a layer underneath all of that which almost nobody addresses, and it's the layer that trips up guys who already understand the theory perfectly well on paper. There are small, unremarkable, everyday habits quietly working against you, and you probably haven't connected the dots because none of them feel significant in isolation. Nobody sits down and thinks this single moment is going to cost me. It never looks that way in the moment. Attraction rarely dies from one dramatic mistake, a single bad date, or one awkward sentence. It dies slowly from 5 small leaks nobody ever bothered to patch, running in the background of your daily life for months without you noticing. Today, we're sealing every one of them one at a time, so none of them can quietly drain the thing you're actually trying to build. Let's get into it. The first leak is the phone reflex. You're in a good conversation, things are flowing, she's laughing, and then your phone buzzes, and your hand is moving toward it before your brain has even registered a decision was made. It's automatic. It doesn't even feel like a choice anymore. Here's why that's a problem. Attention is the most valuable currency you have, and every time you split it, even for 2 seconds, she feels the value of the moment drop slightly. It's not that glancing at your phone once ruins anything. It's that most guys do this every few minutes without noticing, and over time, it quietly teaches her she's competing with a notification for your focus and losing. The fix isn't dramatic. You don't need to throw your phone in a river. You just need to notice the reflex and on purpose let it buzz. Let the message sit there. Presence has become rare, and rare things are valuable by default. Think about the last time somebody gave you their full, undivided attention for an entire conversation. No phone, no glancing at the door, nothing. You probably remember it clearly because it almost never happens anymore. Everyone's half in the room and half somewhere else, scrolling through a version of life that isn't the one happening in front of them. So when you're the one person who is actually fully there, it doesn't just avoid a mistake, it makes you stand out in a way most guys don't even realize is available to them. Undivided attention isn't the baseline anymore, it's the differentiator, and it's free. It costs you nothing except the discomfort of sitting with a small itch and not scratching it, and that discomfort fades faster than you'd expect once you start practicing it on purpose instead of by accident. The second leak is posture, and I don't mean this in the generic stand up straight way you've heard 1,000 times. I mean it as a signal because that's what it actually is. Slouched shoulders, a sunken chest, eyes locked on the ground while you walk. None of that is a body issue. It's a broadcast, and it's transmitting information before you've said a single word. A closed off posture reads as low energy, low competence, a guy bracing for the world instead of moving through it like he belongs. You don't need to walk around like you're auditioning for a superhero franchise. You just need to notice throughout your day whether you're taking up space or quietly shrinking away from it, shoulders back, chin level, walking like you actually have somewhere to be because you do. That single adjustment changes how people respond to you, and I mean everyone, not just women, before a single word leaves your mouth. Your body has been talking the entire time in every room you've walked into, whether you meant for it to or not. The question is simply whether it's been saying something you'd actually want said out loud or something you'd be embarrassed to hear repeated back to you. Most guys never ask themselves that question, which is exactly why the signal keeps going out unchecked. Third, and this one's sneaky because it disguises itself as humility, is the habit of narrating your insecurities out loud. You know the guy who says, sorry, I'm so awkward. And the second there's a lull in conversation, or this might sound dumb, but before every single opinion he shares, or the guy who can't stop joking about being broke, being bad with women, being a general mess of a human being. A little self-deprecating humor is fine. Nobody wants a guy who takes himself too seriously. But when it becomes a running commentary, a constant subtitle track under everything you do, you're handing people a script for exactly how to perceive you. You are actively training her to see you as precisely as insecure as you keep describing yourself to be over and over until she has no reason to see you any other way. If you wouldn't want a strength to define you out loud, stop rehearsing the weakness the same way. Let your actions do the talking instead. Nobody needs the preview before the movie starts, and constantly narrating your flaws is exactly that, an unnecessary preview that colors everything a person sees after it, whether it's accurate or not. Once someone's been told what to look for, they'll find it, even in moments that had nothing to do with what you warned them about in the first place. A fourth is inconsistent energy, and this one shows up more than guys realize. Picture the guy who's animated, funny, fully relaxed around his friends, cracking jokes without a second thought, and then the moment an attractive woman walks into the room, he goes stiff, formal, careful with every word, like he's presenting a quarterly report to a board of directors instead of just talking to a person. Women notice this shift almost instantly, even if they can't articulate exactly what changed. It reads as performance, as this isn't actually him. This is a version he's putting on for my benefit. And performance kills the one thing you're actually trying to build, which is genuine connection. Nobody connects with a performance. They just watch it. The fix isn't to get louder or try harder when she's around. It's to bring the exact same version of yourself that shows up with your friends, just slightly more considerate of the person in front of you. Same jokes, same energy, same opinions, same person. Consistency is what tells someone's nervous system that what they're seeing is real and safe to trust. Think of it like meeting the same person under two completely different lighting conditions. If the guy she sees on a quiet Tuesday afternoon looks nothing like the guy she saw laughing loudly with his friends on Saturday night, her brain doesn't know which version to believe, so it defaults to caution, and caution is the opposite of attraction. Consistency removes that guesswork entirely. She's never left wondering who she's actually dealing with because you've already shown her repeatedly and without trying that there's only one version of you, and it's the same one every time she looks. Fifth, and this might be the biggest leak of the five, is neglecting your own life for the mere possibility of hers. This shows up in ways that feel small in the moment, but add up fast. Skipping the gym because she might text later, bailing on plans with your friends just in case she wants to hang out instead, letting your goals sit paused on a shelf while you wait to see how things develop with her. Here's the actual problem with that. A life that revolves entirely around maybe isn't a life, it's a waiting room, and nobody finds a waiting room attractive to sit in no matter how nice the company is. Women are drawn to men with momentum, men who are visibly building something regardless of whether she happens to be watching that day. When your world keeps moving with or without her, you become someone worth joining on the way somewhere. When your entire world pauses the second she enters it, you become someone she now has to manage, has to think about, has to worry, is waiting on her. And managing someone isn't romantic. It's a responsibility, and nobody falls harder for a responsibility, no matter how much they might like you. The men who seem to attract women without even trying aren't doing anything mysterious behind the scenes. They're simply visibly busy building something real, whether that's a career, a physique, a friend group, a skill worth mastering. and the woman in their life gets folded naturally into that momentum instead of becoming the entire engine driving it forward. She gets to watch someone go somewhere and decide she wants a seat on that ride instead of being handed the wheel of a car that was never moving to begin with. None of these 5 things are dramatic when you look at them in isolation. Nobody loses attraction because they checked their phone once or slouched for a single afternoon or made one joke at their own expense. But habits compound quietly and relentlessly, whether you're paying attention to them or not. It works the same way a single skipped workout doesn't undo your progress, but 6 straight months of skipped workouts absolutely will. These small patterns stack one on top of the other until one day she can't quite explain why the spark faded. She just knows that it did, and she probably won't be able to point to a single moment that caused it because there wasn't one. There were 5 repeated daily, quietly rehearsed until they became the story. And by the time she noticed the ending, the story had already been writing itself for weeks. The good news, and there always is some, is that the reverse is just as true. You don't need one big dramatic transformation to turn this around. You don't need a new haircut or a new personality or 6 months in the gym before anything changes. You need to catch these 5 leaks and patch them one small correction at a time, and the same compounding that was quietly working against you starts working just as quietly in your favor instead. You don't have to fix all 5 at once, and honestly, trying to overhaul everything simultaneously usually backfires because it turns self-improvement into another performance instead of a genuine shift. So start with one, just one this week. Pick whichever of these 5 hit closest to home, the one that made you wince a little when you heard it, and every single time you catch yourself doing it, pause and choose differently. Not perfectly, just differently, and just once at a time. That's how identity actually shifts, not through some burst of motivation that fades by Thursday, but through small, repeated corrections until the new version of you stops requiring effort and just becomes who you are. And now, fixing these habits handles the subtle leaks, the small stuff most guys never notice. But some of you are dealing with something much bigger and more structural. And it's the actual reason you keep attracting the wrong people over and over. No matter how many small habits you fix, that's what we're getting into next. So stick around for that one.